Wednesday, UnWoke Nation. I'd like to welcome you to Season 4 of Episode 147 of The UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all services are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host here. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, great, Rich, man. 2026, we are here, guys.
Yes, we are.
As we've stated previously, guys, we're on all the major podcasting platforms. Tune in, check us out, do a search for The UnWoke Show. We got plenty of great content for you. You can also reach us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. And tonight, we're kicking off 2026
with a bang.
Literally.
Yep.
So, welcome to Season 4, as we stated already, of The UnWoke Show. We told you at the end of last year that the temperature was going to rise, but I don't think anyone expected it to boil over this fast. Okay? We're not here to give you outrage theater. You can find that on every other channel tonight. We're here to do what we've always done. Look at the receipts, ignore the propaganda, and find the truth in the wreckage. Tonight, Minneapolis is back in the crosshairs. A 37-year-old woman named Renee Good is dead, shot by a federal agent in the middle of a residential street. Within 3 hours, we had two completely different versions of reality. One side calls it domestic terrorism. The other calls it state-sponsored execution. I think we both agree only one side can be right.
Yeah, and as Tim and I had actually talked about before the show started, and also we realized because of all the things that him and I have actually been looking at before we came online right there. So I think this is going to be something where you're going to have sides, both sides having their own opinions about what's going on and what is considered the law under the law, and what's considered to be maybe like too much force or whatever the case may be. It's going to be a crap storm.
Yeah,
it really is. It's going to be one of the biggest stories we're coming into this week.
This is right on the heels of what happened in Venezuela. We're going to get to that much later. So as I had mentioned earlier, the lady that was shot, 37-year-old Renee Good. Okay. If you look up her social media profile, you'll see reasonably attractive woman.
Right.
It says she's a terrible drummer, I think.
Yeah, she mentioned in her profile that she was a terrible drummer that was from Colorado.
She's a mom, and she's married to her partner.
Right.
She was participating this afternoon in an anti-ICE protest.
Right.
They said, city officials have said that she was a legal observer of federal actions in the city and wasn't a target of an ICE-related arrest.
Right.
Okay. Witnesses say that whistles sounded to alert neighbors of ICE presence at about 9:30 a.m. Okay. Witnesses say they saw a Honda Pilot blocked by multiple federal agents, and an agent tried to open the driver's side door. The motorist then put her vehicle into reverse, then into drive. Witnesses say they then heard 3 shots fired. Okay. The Honda traveled another several feet before crashing into another vehicle. Okay. U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem characterized the driver's actions as an act of domestic terrorism. Tricia McLaughlin, Homeland Security's Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, said in a statement Wednesday morning the victim was one of these violent rioters who weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. An act of domestic terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
However, videos posted to social media of the deadly encounter corroborate witness accounts. Mayor Jacob Frey said he's seen the videos of the incident as well and called the federal agency's narrative of the events bullshit. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz added, "Don't believe this propaganda machine."
Actually, Tim, right now, I'm not believing anything you're saying, Mr. Walz.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Tim Walz is, he's not been having a good day or a good month in Minnesota. That's a story for another time.
Mm-hmm.
Noem said in a press conference Wednesday evening, the ICE officer who shot the woman was involved in an incident with an anti-ICE rioter in June.
Okay.
She added that the officer, who has yet to be identified, was taken to the hospital after Wednesday's shooting and has since been released. Okay. The shooting is being investigated by the FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. This killing comes amid the influx of 2,000 federal law enforcement members in the Twin Cities metro area.
Mm.
And to, I don't know, that insult to injury or icing on the cake, whatever term you want to use is, this shooting also happened just a few blocks away from where a Minnesota officer murdered George Floyd in 2020, sparking off weeks of protests around Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the U.S. And worldwide.
Yeah, and I think with this story, I think it's definitely going to be the number one story going into tomorrow's morning news. I'm sure it's on all out of the late night shows as of right now.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's again, as I had mentioned, I think there's going to be a lot of people on both sides of the story of exactly what happened. Tim and I have actually watched this show. I'm sorry, Tim is actually and I have actually watched the main video a couple times, and lucky for us, we've been able to look at also different angles of what's going on. For those of you guys who have not seen it, where so some people are going to say on this, I mean, I don't know if I want to really call her a domestic terrorist, where she might be obstructing or whatever, but I think that might be kind of a strong term to use.
Domestic terrorist, absolutely not.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's like I can understand that she's a person that that she obviously was trying to obstruct. I get that part, but when we're looking at the situation, especially because Tim and I were we actually do have somebody who was able to give an eyewitness account of who was there on what she thought had happened and stuff. So we'll definitely be playing that for you. But based on the video that I saw, it was very, very strange, which unfortunately she happened to be in the middle of the road. And I guess blocking what's going on. And, when you had the main policeman who came over to the driver's side door was asking her to be able to get out, and I think a lot of people probably paid attention to that at first, but they didn't see that there was an officer that was actually in front, the officer that actually ended up killing her.
Right.
And seeing where that is. So you have one side that's going to say, well, maybe that was unusual force that was used. Another one's going to say he was, the one officer who ended up eventually killing her was standing in front of the car. She ended up backing up, which we do show in the video, her backing up and then being able to turn and basically hitting the officer's leg with her driver's side,
mirror.
Well, I don't know so much the mirror is because the one video we had where it shows where at least the driver's side light where so it's what's clipped his left leg, so for which in that case where he ends up shooting into the windshield, which is on the left hand side. The next three shots, as we both heard, actually looked like they were shot into the car as she was starting to pull off, which, as Tim had stated, she eventually drove into a parked car that was there, which was the final portion of the crime scene.
So there is a video on Twitter.
Yes.
Showing that she had been shot.
Yes.
Slumped over and hit or rolled into another car.
She was.
Right?
She
is
definitely was deceased before that.
Yep. So there were bystanders, one of which was a physician, saying they wanted to check her pulse or check on her. ICE agents said no. They told everybody to get back. They left her slumped over in the car.
Yes.
Okay. Ambulance finally arrives and EMTs work on her for about 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
And then they call it at the scene.
So what we were able to do, so you guys were able to understand, so we were able to find the video of the one that Tim talked about, the eyewitness that talked about that he was a physician, and here's just a little bit about what was said. So obviously, that's not a very good thing to hear, because what you guys are hearing, but you're not seeing, this is the portion where the SUV where said that Mrs. Good was actually in, where it had already hit the car. She, as Tim had mentioned, where she's already slumped over. This person who's taking the video that's on the perimeter of where the ICE agents are surrounded by the car is basically saying, it's like, can I check her pulse? And the ICE agent said no. And he says, I'm a physician, which the ICE agent responded that he didn't care.
Right.
So obviously that's a pretty damning thing to say, at that point. So yeah, it's that definitely doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. So, and yes, go ahead.
No, so you and I were talking pre-show about this. And on a certain level, ICE are portrayed as the real bad guys in all of this.
Right. I mean, even the governor of Minnesota, where I actually wanted to call him, I think, at a commencement speech, where as the Gestapo.
Yeah. So with regards to ICE, if you're an ICE agent or you're a government worker, you're absolutely entitled to do your job.
Yes.
Right? There's no doubt if you do a search for ICE, it's not going to come up as these guys are great, these guys are fantastic. There had been a couple of incidents, and Rich, I did a previous episode last year on an ICE agent who clearly abused his power.
Right.
And we'll include that so you guys can go check that out. There's a certain level, I think, of inherited risk that comes with being an ICE agent.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? You're going out.
I mean, the statistics are already shown where the amount of threats and stuff that have been going on ICE agents where it is over 800%. So it's like, yeah, there's a huge risk to do this and all, because, I mean, you don't know when situations are going to happen.
Right. So where I'm going with this is, now I've never seen an ICE training manual. Rich, I know you, right? We have not seen what an ICE training manual is.
Nope.
If there was a worst case scenario that you did not want to see, if you're an ICE agent, one, a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's go one step further. A reasonably attractive 37-year-old woman.
Right. I mean, for which I said, yeah,
U.S. citizen.
Right.
Expressing their right to protest. Okay. Let's, I want to make sure that we get that, because
sure,
you have the right to peacefully protest. Okay.
Right.
That's just one of our, God-given rights, if you will. What makes America great. So you've got a reasonably attractive white female U.S. citizen protesting, ends up being shot by an ICE agent. Now, according to, I think, her social media profile, it says something about being a mother, although we can't identify whether she she and her partner actually have adopted a child or have a child.
Yeah, we have yet to confirm that just yet.
Yeah, so. Sometimes they put, hey, I have fur babies there, for, dog, cat there for my mom and stuff like that. Right. But lists her as a mother in some capacity. Mm-hmm. If this doesn't spell worst case and what should not happen, this would be it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want situations, like this. And I understand, some might say, and even you have said too, Tim, it's like you might look where, hey, it's like, if it's somebody who might be an illegal immigrant or something like that, it's a different story. But what I think is that it is a very unfortunate situation. I mean, and I definitely don't want, UnWoke Nation to think that, we don't take this seriously. I mean, we definitely do. Somebody lost their life today, you know, so that's a really bad situation. But we're looking at, where, we have a person where they were trying to basically obstruct a situation where that was
she has some culpability.
Yeah, she does.
In terms of blocking, and she could have been arrested or whatever.
Right.
The other part of this, and we have seen this play out, and the Democrats ran on this. She's LGBTQ.
Right.
Another demographic that definitely could say, you could make a case that this was targeted. It's Minnesota. Okay. Big blue state. Okay. Every, if there was, like I said, that emergency, we can't have this situation, right? Young woman, again, 37, U.S. citizen, lesbian, okay, shot, and killed. That video saying, hey, I'm a physician, I want to check on her. ICE agent says, get back. And this guy was involved in another incident or a previous incident back in June.
Right.
Okay.
Now, what I will say, Tim, is like, because I know how you were saying that this could be looked as being targeted and also, but based on the video that we've seen, at no point, whether in the car, on the car, or anything in the scene, shows that she was LGBTQ or anything like that. So I find it kind of hard to kind of really say it was targeted. And also, but what I think it is important is people understand is that when they're looking at this because this is going to be brought up in court, so, and they're going to look at the situation when the defense is going to go with obstruction of justice. And according to what we have here, where according to the U.S. Customs, Immigration and Customs Act, there's obstruction of justice, which is under 18 Bill 1501. It says it is a crime to obstruct, resist, or impede federal officers, including ICE agents, while they are performing their official duties. This includes both direct physical obstruction and indirect methods, such as providing false information or using intimidation. Now, obviously, the last two portions of that does not play towards Mrs. Good at all, but I believe this is something that they're going to be able to bring up in court to say it's like, we were in the process of doing something and she was obstructing justice in the midst of this. Then they're going to go even farther, saying, she tried to run over an ICE agent, obviously, which needs to be proven because there's so many different. You and I have seen at least 3 to 4 different vantage points. And it's very, very difficult to say. It's like, one says, did she get hit by the mirror, or did she get hit, by the by the light?
Yeah, like I will throw this out there. Could this been and I bet this comes up in court.
Sure.
Could she have been panicking in her car?
Right.
With what ICE was doing, or
because she had to clearly see the gun of the agent that was in front of the car, in front of her hood. If she's backing up or so and about to make a left-hand turn, there's no way on the planet she is not looking at the windshield of the agent where that's yelling at her with the window down on the driver's side, and the other agent where that's basically in front of the car. So that's got his gun literally pointed out. It clearly states, if you slow down the video. If you guys ever get to see the video on Twitter, if you slow it down well enough, and some people have already done that,
Yep.
you will see that agent standing in front of the car that she eventually ends up striking has his gun clearly directed at her. And so
is it reasonable to assume she panicked?
Possibility, yeah. I don't think it's out of the question.
I think you would have panicked. I think I would have panicked. I think any reasonable individual would have panicked.
The key word in this is possibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And so we also talked, had this person in this Honda Pilot been an illegal immigrant, completely different story.
Right. Because people would have sat to say, well, she shouldn't have been here. He or she shouldn't have been here in the first place, and da-da-da.
Yeah, but the fact that this is a 37-year-old female U.S. citizen, that changes the entire narrative right there.
But Tim, don't you think that's kind of what's wrong with the law? So we live in a country right here where there's other things where you basically get judged by public opinion instead of actually by the law itself. And that's where it's like it gets really, really messed up. I mean, so if you break a law, regardless of your gender or something like that, you've broken the law. But unfortunately, we live in a society. You're not wrong.
No.
You live in a society and they're like that. Well, yeah, if you're a woman or you're doing this, that, yeah, I mean, they judge you on that regardless of what it is. How many times do we see back in 2019, 2020, where we might have seen somebody who's a minority who's about to attack a cop or who happens to have his camera on him, like the situation we saw in Philadelphia. Hispanic guy comes out, whatever the case may be, parents had already called, and also the cop is directing towards him where he comes down the stairs like that. He's got a knife and he ends up shooting him. Now they want to protest. So it made a big deal of where, so because it happened to be somebody who was Hispanic. But if somebody white does it, they don't think anything of it. And that's a problem I think that we have in our society where, so even when we go one step further and also how many times you heard me say that unfortunately, like we look at crimes that are done in schools, against children, but if she's an attractive female, all of a sudden that gets a little bit more instead of saying like, wait, this person's a pedophile. What is wrong with that? And that's just what's like really, really frustrating. It doesn't change the situation that we have, of how people judge things and like that, because a crime is a crime, at least in my mind.
So the difference, the single biggest difference is she's female.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the biggest difference. And our society, in the value we put on human life, okay, not just female, but male. But in this instant, right, this, like as I said earlier, the trifecta. Now, to talk to your point about the court of public opinion, this ICE agent, he's already been Joan of Arc.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Repeatedly.
Absolutely. It's no different from the guy, even when because you're saying about how, this happened where so not far from the George Floyd situation.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, regardless of what happened or the guy was on drugs or anything like that, that cop was already, found guilty from the jump before he even got in court.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's definitely something where it's like, again, I think there's going to be people on both sides of this situation and going to be looking at that. It's going to be one hell of a phenomenal case, but I think what also makes it worse too, you're saying that it makes it worse because she's a woman. It also makes it worse for ICE as well, because ICE has already been vilified. Other things that are going on and people don't think that it's fair what they're doing, whatever the case may be. It's like, so you got that going on as well. So now it's more of the case of like, how are you going to justify this particular cop who you said was released? So how do you justify, you shooting that person? That's really going to be, the biggest thing. But, but it's still sad because someone lost their life today.
So where does this all leave us? Well, here's the unwoke truth. When you replace local cooperation with federal force, and when you replace objective investigations with immediate social media spin, nobody is safe. Okay? Not the agents, and certainly not the citizen. Renee Good wasn't a professional agitator or a rioter, according to her family and local police. She was a neighbor who was terrified. Okay. Season 4 is going to be about holding everyone accountable.
Yep.
Whether it's woke local policies that invite chaos or federal overreach that causes it, we're going to call it out.
Right.
The receipts don't have a political party.
No.
Stick with us, because this is just the beginning of the most volatile year we've ever seen. This is the